Sitcoms have long been a beloved form of entertainment, providing laughter and joy to audiences worldwide. But for some actors, the success and recognition gained from their iconic sitcom roles came at a price. The phenomenon of typecasting can be a double-edged sword, as it can elevate an actor's popularity and limit their opportunities for diverse and challenging roles. Join Factsverse as we uncover the stories of these talented individuals and the impact of typecasting on their careers. Baer Jr. Most people would recognize the famous actor as Jethro Clampett, the son of Jed Clampett's cousin Pearl, who got to relocate to Beverly Hills with Jed and his family in Paul Henning's classic series, The Beverly Hillbillies. Following the conclusion of the series, the actor encountered difficulties finding new roles due to being typecast, but he was determined not to let the sitcom role define the end of his career. During an interview with the Tampa Tribune in 2000, Baer Jr. shared his motivation and his fight against career setbacks in the industry. He expressed that starvation became his driving force. He pursued acting opportunities for the sake of financial stability and job security. Unfortunately, he found himself trapped in the shadow of the iconic Jethro character. It became apparent that his reputation as Jethro had rendered him virtually unemployable in the industry. Consequently, he took on the roles of producer and director for several independent productions, which proved financially rewarding. Although the success of these films didn't reach the level of the Beverly Hillbillies, they garnered enough attention for Baer Jr. to maintain a comfortable lifestyle. Don Addams. Born in New York City as Donald James Yarmy, Addams endured 4 challenging years in the U.S. Marine Corps before seeking a more relaxed environment in Florida after his discharge in 1945. During a wild adventure to Miami, Addams and his friend Jay Lawrence, the brother of F Troop's Larry Storch, decided to team up and create a hilarious comedy duo. Addams confessed that he drew inspiration from Larry's jokes and impressions, making for a side-splittingly funny act. It wasn't until 20 years later, when Get Smart came along, that Addams found respite from the constant worries of rent and car payments. However, looking back with hindsight, he considered Get Smart to be a double-edged sword. Reflecting on the show, he described it as unique and acknowledged its eventual rise to cult classic status, which brought in a considerable amount of money. But he also expressed that it had a detrimental effect on his career due to being typecast. The strength of the character, particularly with his distinctive voice, made it challenging for others to imagine him in different roles. Despite his efforts to remain in the limelight by spearheading, directing, and acting in his own TV show, Addams failed to replicate the massive success of Get Smart. Henry Winkler. With his slicked-back hair, leather jacket, and trademark Henry Winkler captivated a generation of TV viewers as Fonzie, a tough guy with a heart of gold on Happy Days. But Winkler admits that finding work after his iconic portrayal of Fonzie, which not only made him a household name but also spawned several spin-off shows and even an action figure modeled after his character, proved to be a challenge. Winkler openly shares that he faced a significant challenge during a period of 8 or 9 years when he encountered difficulties getting employment. He attributes the struggle to being perceived solely as the Fonz and being typecast. Despite these difficulties, this period of uncertainty became the catalyst for Winkler's reinvention. He started his own production company in 1985 as a result of sheer determination and some trepidation. The first successful venture of his production company turned out to be the widely acclaimed series MacGyver, which aired for 7 seasons and received 5 Emmy nominations. Now, nearly 5 decades since the sitcom's debut in 1974, Winkler has garnered a fresh wave of admirers due to his starring role in the HBO series Barry. Bob Denver. While there are actors who have reservations about being typecast, for Bob Denver it was actually preferable to the alternative. Bob, known for his portrayal of Gilligan on Gilligan's Island, became inseparable from the endearing label of the little buddy as referred to by the skipper. Like many actors who achieved legendary status through iconic roles, Denver found himself forever associated with that character. But he didn't view being typecast as a negative aspect of his career. Before that, he had already gained recognition for his portrayal of the beatnik sidekick Maynard Krebs in The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. So transitioning from one career-defining role to another, Denver fully embraced the characters that followed him throughout his life. Once he joined the cast of Gilligan's Island, he quickly grew comfortable with his role and embraced it, even beyond the confines of the set. Fans greatly appreciated when actors fully embraced and embodied their characters, contributing to the perpetuation of typecasting. Denver had no trouble immersing himself in his character's persona both on and off screen. Ken Osmond. Ken Osmond rose to stardom through his role as Eddie Haskell in Leave It to Beaver. As the wisecracking best friend of Wally Cleaver, Osmond became known for his character. When the series ended, however, he had trouble finding work in the entertainment industry. By the time the show ended in 1963, Osmond, along with the rest of the cast, had become inseparable from their on-screen characters. Half a century later, Eddie still stands out as one of the most iconic characters from the sitcom. One might assume that finding acting opportunities would be relatively straightforward for an actor after being part of a popular show, but this wasn't the case for Osmond. In an interview with The Beach Reporter about his memoir, Eddie, The Life and Times of America's Preeminent Bad Boy, Osmond recalled the challenge of shedding the public's perception of him as his Leave It to Beaver character. He found it difficult to escape the image that had become ingrained in people's minds. In a different turn of events, Osmond spent 18 years working with the LAPD. To avoid being recognized, he even grew a mustache. But his law enforcement career came to an end in 1980 after being shot 3 times. He reunited with his fellow cast members for Still the Beaver, a CBS program that led to 4 seasons of The New Leave It to Beaver, airing from 1984 to 89. Seinfeld Cast. Seinfeld, widely considered one of the greatest TV comedies, has sparked discussions about its relevance and the potential impact of typecasting on its actors' careers. Following the conclusion of the show, the main cast members, with the exception of Jerry Seinfeld, ventured into new shows. But Jason Alexander, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Michael Richards faced repeated setbacks with their subsequent projects. While Louis-Dreyfus initially struggled to find success, her career took a turn in 2006 with The New Adventures of Old Christine. This sitcom allowed her to explore a different character, Christine Campbell, which helped dispel any notions of typecasting and open doors to more diverse roles. Although that series ended in 2010, Louis-Dreyfus seamlessly transitioned into another distinct character, playing Selena Meyer in Veep until the show's finale in 2019. Currently, she's embarked on a new venture within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, portraying Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. This role has the potential to become a replacement for Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury. Louis-Dreyfus has demonstrated her ability to evolve beyond the confines of her previous characters and embrace new opportunities in her career. And while Jason Alexander and Michael Richards have gone on to acting in other shows and films to lift the typecasting that came from their iconic characters, subsequently, they haven't been able to find a new show or shows like Louis-Dreyfus to make them a star once again. Of course, once you've portrayed characters as classic as George Costanza and Kramer, you don't need to do too much else to be remembered as a legend. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you know some other actors who were pigeonholed in the same way? Let us know in the comments section below.